Close your eyes for a second. Imagine London back in 1888. We're talking a city bathed in the dim, flickering light of gas lamps, choked by thick fog, with echoing footsteps ringing out in pitch-black alleys. Welcome to This Historical Explainer. Today we're investigating a killer whose true name is completely lost to history, but whose brutal legacy has absolutely captivated minds for over 130 years. Okay, let's dive into this.
It was in this incredibly terrifying, deeply atmospheric setting that a real-life monster stepped out of the shadows. He mercilessly took the lives of his victims, completely baffled the entire Metropolitan Police Force, and then just vanished into the fog like a ghost.
Which brings us to the central question of our explainer today. Who was behind the mask of Jack the Ripper? How did a figure so ruthless completely taunt Scotland Yard and slip away without leaving a single trace? Well, to understand the monster, we first have to understand exactly where he hunted.
Part 1. The Autumn of Terror, Whitechapel's Darkest Days.
So our story takes place in Whitechapel. Now, in the late 19th century, this area was notoriously known as the poorest, most crowded slum in all of London. It was, unfortunately, the perfect hunting ground. Let's move to and see how this builds across our timeline here. Between August and November of 1888, a horrifying wave of terror just gripped this district. It started with a really shocking discovery in August, totally escalated through the fall, and culminated with the final canonical murder in November.
Now you might be wondering about that word canonical. Notice the number 5. Whitechapel was a rough place, right? There were plenty of unsolved crimes, but history really zeroes in on a specific group of women known as the canonical 5. These are the 5 primary victims that are officially attributed to the Ripper.
But what made these 5 specific cases stand out from any ordinary crime? Honestly, it was the gruesome, almost unbelievable surgical precision. The killer executed these remarkably swift cuts, followed by the highly accurate removal of internal organs. Medical examiners back in 1888 concluded that the killer had to possess advanced anatomical knowledge. They firmly believed he was either a high-level surgeon or maybe a highly skilled butcher who was entirely accustomed to working in the dark.
Part 2. Letters from Hell, Psychological Warfare with Scotland Yard.
As if the physical crimes weren't horrifying enough, the psychological warfare began. News agencies and the police suddenly started receiving these baffling, taunting letters claiming to be from the killer himself. The most famous one opened with the words, "Dear Boss." And this exact document is where the chilling moniker Jack the Ripper was actually born and cemented into history forever.
But you know, it gets even more disturbing. A letter addressed simply "From Hell" arrived, and it came alongside a small wooden box. Inside that box, half of a human kidney, preserved in wine. The message literally dared the police to catch him, stating, "I fried and ate it. It was very nice. If you wait a little while, I will send the bloody knife."
And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer audacity of the killer. By sending a human organ, openly mocking the desperate police efforts, and detailing his own gruesome acts, he pushed the citywide panic to an absolute breaking point. The tension was so extreme that terrified citizens outright refused to leave their homes at night. They were literally locking their doors against the fog.
Part 3. The Prime Suspects. Over 2,000 questioned, 0 arrests.
So, despite a massive dragnet where they questioned over 2,000 people and looked at over 100 official suspects, the police caught absolutely no one. Over the years, 2 vastly different theories emerged that we can look at objectively. On side A, we have Aaron Kosminski. He was a local Polish tailor with a documented history of mental illness and misogyny. There's even modern, though highly debated, DNA testing on a victim's shawl that supposedly pointed to him. Then on side B, you have Dr. William Galt, the royal physician. This ties into a sprawling conspiracy theory suggesting the murders were this elaborate cover-up to hide a dark secret involving Prince Albert Victor. So, 2 distinct theories, but neither has ever been conclusively proven.
Part 4. An Unsolved Legacy, The Sudden Silence.
What makes this mystery even deeper, honestly, is the sudden silence. After the 5th victim, the gruesome murders just abruptly stopped. Did the killer die? Was he thrown in jail for some other random crime? Or did he just flee London forever? We're left with nothing but dark, unanswered questions. So the crucial point is this. Jack the Ripper wasn't just a historical killer. He became the permanent symbol of the ultimate unsolved mystery. By forcing the police to adapt to such a cunning adversary,
He actually laid the essential groundwork for modern criminal profiling and investigation, and it stands today as the ultimate historical cold case. Which leaves us right back exactly where we started, looking out into that dark Victorian fog. Who do you think was behind it that night? Was it a mentally ill tailor, a royal doctor protecting the crown, or just someone completely unexpected that history entirely missed? Drop your theories in the comments below. I would absolutely love to read them.
If you enjoyed exploring the shadows of 1888 with us today, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss a new explainer. Next time, we're staying right here in England to unlock another incredible puzzle, the mystery of the princes in the tower. You definitely won't want to miss it. See you then.